Howdy, I'm Ed Parrott. Welcome to the channel. Is the East Tennessee housing market about to crash, or are we just in a normal cycle? Today, I'm comparing January of 2015 to January of 2026 using data from the East Tennessee REALTORS market reports. The differences might surprise you. This isn't my opinion, it's data. Let's start with inventory because that drives everything. In January of 2015, we had roughly 9,500 active listings in East Tennessee. In January of 2026, we're sitting closer to 6,600 active listings. That's about 30% fewer homes available today. Now let's look at absorption rate. That is, how long it would take to sell everything on the market if no new listings came on the market. In 2015, we're sitting around 8 to 10 months of inventory. Today, it's down to 4 months. That's a massive difference. Now, why the change in inventory and absorption rate? Well, the average 30-year mortgage in 2015 was 3.6%. Rates over the last year have been between 6 and 7%, with the average rate today at 6.09%. So even with today's higher rates, we're nowhere near oversupplied. That brings us to prices. In 2015, the average sold price was roughly $175,000 to $190,000. So in 2026, we're averaging between $440,000 and $460,000. Now that's more than double in 11 years. Now some people hear that and assume a bubble. But here's the key. Prices rise when supply is tight and demand stays strong. And even with the higher rates, homes are still selling. Now for that, let's take a look at the days on market, which tells us how fast homes are moving. In 2015, the average days on market were between 130 and 190 days. Today, we're down to 80 days. That means homes are selling almost twice as fast as they were a decade ago, and demand is still strong in East Tennessee. The reason for that is life goes on, which brings us to the 6 Ds of real estate, which never stop. Now, buyers do have more leverage than they did in 2021. The sold to original list price ratio has softened significantly. Currently, homes are selling for about 93% of the original listing price, but they're selling for about 97% of the listing price when they actually go under contract. So in a nutshell, this is not a distressed market. It's a normalized market. Here's the big difference. In 2015, mortgage rates were around 3.5 to 4%. Today's average 30-year fixed rate is 6.1%. Of course, that's the average, and your actual rate will depend on your individual circumstances. So what changed? Back then, we had cheaper money, but too much inventory. Today, we have higher rates, but supply is tight. The major reason for the tight supply is something called the rate lock effect. Because millions of homeowners have 3% mortgages, they don't want to give up that low rate, so they're not selling. That restricts supply and keeps downward pressure on inventory. Now, this will be less of a roadblock as rates continue to come down. Also, as I mentioned, life continues to happen, so the 6 Ds are always a factor. So, what does it all mean? Well, for buyers, you have negotiating power again. You can ask for concessions, but don't expect 2015 prices. For sellers, pricing correctly is critical. Overprice and you'll sit on the market. Price it right and it will move fast. East Tennessee in 2026 is not 2008 and it's not 2021. It's a tighter, steadier, more strategic market. If you understand the numbers, you can win. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this enjoyable and informative. If you would, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.